Do MQA mastered albums sound better than normal PCM ones? And if they do, in what way? It is a logical question and is asked to me a lot. Time to attempt to answer it. Comparing music carriers and codecs is not trivial, especially in a time where there are often tens of different masters of the same album that have to be produced for all kinds of carriers, streaming services, radio stations and so on. They all have their own sound and you better make sure your product survives the maltreatment by those media. You'll never be sure whether you compare a normal PCM version against an MQA version produced from the same master. And you can't exclude that one of them has been degraded purposely. I'm not accusing anyone and I have no knowledge of this happening. But unless I have supervised the mastering assisted by a mastering engineer I know and can trust, it can't be excluded either. But doing nothing isn't an option either. So I have been saving different releases of the same album and will compare them in this video. To keep it manageable, I compare only one track on each album. Let me start with my favorite MQA album, sound quality wise. This third album by Supertramp is from 1974 and was the commercial breakthrough for the band. Listening to the Crime of the Century track, the original CD, the Dutch release, sounds well balanced, has a fair stereo image and, not surprisingly, no loudness war compression. The SHM CD does sound compressed with the sharp edges around the voices. The Mobile Fidelity SoundLab release sounds well balanced and has a stereo image that is about equal to the original CD but is more dynamic on percussions. The MQA 192 kHz version from Tidal sounds analog. For instance on the vocals that are open and free from the sharp edges that the others had to a varying degree. Percussion sounds like if it's not limited by tech, more free. This is one of the CDs recorded at the MTV Unplugged series of TV performances and Morissette's first live album. It's not the greatest recording in the world sound-wise, but I have the CD and Tidal offers MQA, so let's compare. I use the popular track Ironic. The European release of the CD sounds somewhat muffled and has sibilance problems. The Tidal MQA release sounds only slightly better, slightly less muffled and has reduced sibilance problems. Pink Floyd is one of the bands that formed me musically, starting with Umaguma and followed up with going to the Atom Heart Mother concert in April '71. The Division Bell is a far cry from these albums, musically and lyrically. It misses the social engagement Waters had always added. Still, it's musically pleasing and I'm a big fan of the track High Hopes, so I use that for comparison. The original European CD release sounds good and well balanced. The stereo image is not Roger Waters quality but still good. The 2007 remaster sounds about the same as the original CD. And then you hear the MQA version and the sound is lifted to another level. Don't get me wrong, there is not a huge difference. It just has more subtle refinement. Again here the percussion and drums sounded liberated and for instance the introducing guitar lost its nasality. This 8th album by R.E.M. holds their hit Everybody Hurts and that is the track I use. The original CD rip sounds somewhat stuffed and makes me claustrophonic. The 24-bit 48 kHz HD tracks download already sounds better. The snare has a bit more room feel, as do the claves. The voice still is caught in the reverb. The MQA version gives more bite to the snare and claves. Also the reverb is in the right space behind the voice, behind the snares and behind the claves. This opens up the recording in a very pleasant way. I did not select these albums on their sound quality, but randomly on availability. Comparing releases is a tough business that takes more time than I thought. I had planned this already years ago when I bought different releases of albums, and now finally here was the first fruit of this labor. There will be more to come, but only if I'm confident my judgments are solid, or at least as solid as I can achieve. Do realize that taste and influences of the stereo might come into play. I've said it before, there's no objective journalism, let alone objective reviewing. But there is independent journalism and independent reviewing, and that's what I try to offer you. With one goal only, so you can enjoy the music. Thank you for supporting the channel.